Have you ever really thought about where your garbage goes, after you drag the bin to the curb? For most of us, it's just gone. But what if I told you that simple bag of trash is at the heart of a massive geopolitical showdown? We're talking tariffs, high-stakes trade deals, and two of the biggest names in North American politics. Yeah, this is a wild one.
I know, it sounds like the plot of a weird movie, right? But this actually happened. This isn't just about finding a place to dump stuff. This is about how something as mundane as garbage can be turned into a powerful political weapon. To get a sense of the scale here, just look at that number. 3.44 million tons. That's how much garbage the province of Ontario trucks across the border into the United States, mostly Michigan, every single year. For decades, it was the easy solution, the cheap option. But as it turns out, that convenience created a massive vulnerability.
And by 2026, that quiet, steady flow of trash suddenly wasn't so quiet anymore. It became a bargaining chip in an international dispute, threatening to bring an entire province's waste management system to a grinding, smelly halt.
So, how on earth did Ontario get into this mess? Well, the root of it is pretty simple, actually. The province is literally running out of room for its own trash. The clock on its landfill capacity has been ticking for years, and that ticking is the soundtrack to this whole crisis.
Now check this out. This slide tells you everything you need to know about the stakes. As long as the U.S. border is open, Ontario has until about 2037. But if that border slams shut, the province hits a brick wall in 2034. That 3-year difference might not sound like a lot, but in the world of infrastructure and logistics, it is a catastrophic cliff.
For so long, Michigan was this perfect safety valve. You see, their landfill fees were dirt cheap. At one point, it was literally 36 cents a ton. So, of course, it became the go-to destination for almost a third of Ontario's waste. But depending on a safety valve like that, well, it just sets the stage for a perfect storm when the political winds change.
And here's where things go from a local problem to an international incident. What started as a trade dispute over things like steel and aluminum quickly spiraled, and it ended up sucking everything into its vortex, including those garbage trucks rolling across the Ambassador Bridge every day.
And man, did it escalate fast. You can see it right here. Early 2025, the Trump administration starts threatening these massive tariffs. Then, in a key move, Michigan's own government fails to raise its landfill fees, which would have at least made exporting less attractive, so the door stays wide open. All of this is happening with this huge deadline looming, the mandatory review of the entire North American free trade deal.
So you might be asking, why is trash even part of a trade deal? Well, it comes down to this little bit of legal jargon. Under the USMCA, Canadian waste was technically an originating good, something wholly produced in Canada. And that little detail should have made it exempt from tariffs. But when you're in the middle of a trade war, definitions tend to get flexible.
And the impact was immediate and huge. That 25% tariff didn't just hit municipal garbage bags. No, it slammed the entire recycling supply chain. We're talking scrap metal, aluminum, you name it. All of a sudden, the cost of moving anything deemed waste across the border just skyrocketed, putting the whole system at risk.
Okay, so with that American safety valve about to be slammed shut, the Ontario government went into crisis mode. They decided they had to solve their landfill problem, and they had to do it now. The path they chose, though? Hoo boy, it turned out to be just as explosive as the problem itself.
And they weren't shy about why they were doing it. Premier Doug Ford came right out and said it. The threat from the White House was the main reason for their drastic action. It was all framed as an act of economic self-defense. We have to do this or they'll bring us to our knees.
The government's big weapon in this fight was something called Bill 5. It was a massive piece of legislation, an omnibus bill, which basically means they stuffed a whole bunch of different things into one giant bill. And it had one clear overriding goal: get new landfills approved by bulldozing through all the usual red tape.
So what did it actually do? Well, for one, it basically skipped the normal, lengthy environmental assessment process. It then zeroed in on one specific project, the York 1 facility, to get it fast-tracked above all others. And the whole time, the justification was that this was a necessary geopolitical defense mechanism, pitting provincial economic survival against local environmental rules.
But here's where the story takes a turn. While the government was fighting fire with legislation, the private sector saw something else: a huge opportunity. A crisis like this created a massive opening for anyone who could figure out how to find value in the stuff everyone else was trying to get rid of. And into that opening stepped a company called 95 Wood. Their big idea was this concept they call a digital refinery.
Think about it. An oil refinery takes crude oil, a liability in the ground, and turns it into valuable products. 905 Wood does the same, but their feedstock isn't oil. It's industrial wood waste. They use data and tech to turn a problem into a high-value asset.
So how does it make financial sense? It's all about something called arbitrage, exploiting a price difference. This chart lays it out perfectly. Back in 2026, landfilling mixed junk in Toronto cost almost $190 a ton. 905 Wood figured out they could haul away clean wood for way less, and in the process, save their clients over $47 for every single ton. That's an argument that's pretty hard for a business to ignore.
And their process is fascinating. It starts with super efficient logistics. We're talking massive trailers to pick up the wood waste. Then, at what they call the digital gateway, every piece is scanned, creating a digital twin in their system. From there, it goes to the refinery core, where robots and machines turn it into useful things, like biomass pellets or building materials. And the final output isn't just a physical product, it's also a stream of valuable data, like digital product passports and, crucially, carbon credits.
And that right there is the secret sauce. Because every single step is tracked and digitized, it creates what they call explainable compliance. It's a perfect auditable data trail that proves exactly where the waste went and what it became. This isn't just about avoiding the landfill. It's about generating new, valuable, and sellable assets, things like carbon credits, which they smartly call carbon dividends.
So, all of this brings us right back to the edge of the cliff, because while these amazing innovations are creating a new path forward, the entire continental system, both the old way and the new way, is hurtling towards one single, immovable deadline, a date that will change everything. That date is July 1st, 2026. It's the day Canada, the US, and Mexico are legally required to sit down and review the entire USMCA trade agreement. And when they do, absolutely everything is on the table.
And the stakes, they could not be higher. Worst case scenario, the deal gets torn up and those huge tariffs become permanent. But even a lesser outcome, like moving to annual reviews instead of long-term ones, would create so much uncertainty that no one would risk investing in the new facilities we need. The whole integrated waste market could just shatter into a million little pieces.
But, no matter what happens on that specific day, one thing has become crystal clear through all of this. The era of the cheap, easy, out-of-sight, out-of-mind cross-border landfill is over. Done. The future of managing our waste is going to be domestic, it's got to be circular, and yeah, it's going to be a lot more expensive.
Which leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to think about. As borders become harder to cross and we run out of places to bury our problems, you have to wonder, is our garbage about to become one of our most valuable and fought-over commodities? In short, is trash the new oil?